In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
Because it's right.
Here's the real truth.
Hey, what's up, world? I got a long video for all of you, as I'm sure you can already tell, because by the time I record this video and upload it, and then it's on YouTube or BitChute or wherever it's at, you're probably going to see a little timestamp in the corner, and it's definitely going to exceed over an hour. Probably going to be an hour and a half long. Who knows, maybe even longer. Maybe you'll have to watch this video in 2 different sittings. But it's going to be worth it, because I got a lot of great stories to cover, a lot of great information to share with you all, and remember, I'm doing it for free. Okay, so just remember that. I mean, there is a PayPal and there is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description of my videos if you do want to help support what I'm doing here, or you don't have to. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to keep doing this stuff regardless, but it does help. A little bit goes a long way. Anyway, I want to start this video off by sharing something that I came across in ChatGPT. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me look for some interesting information about Teddy Roosevelt. And I found 1 or 2 things that were pretty interesting. But then I was curious what ChatGPT would say about his connection to royalty. So I asked ChatGPT, I was like, does Teddy Roosevelt have any royal ancestors? Or is there any royal ancestry in Teddy Roosevelt's family tree? Or something along those lines. So anyway, ChatGPT responded with the following. The Roosevelt family, including President Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin D. Roosevelt, traces its American roots, I like how it has to put that, its American roots, to Claus Martozijn van Rosenvelt, a Dutch immigrant who settled in New Amsterdam, kind of an interesting name here by the way, in New Amsterdam, now New York City, in the mid-17th century. While the Roosevelts were prominent in American politics and society, their ancestry does not include direct royal lineage. Kind of uses this fluff language, like, oh, it's not direct royal lineage. Their heritage is primarily Dutch, with connections to other notable colonial families, but there is no documented evidence of descent from European royalty. Now, I found this interesting, so I actually did, a lot of pushing of information, and I went to their lineage. I tried finding it on other sites, and it's interesting how their lineage, when you're looking it up, it kind of cuts off at a certain point. You can't go back further than, I think it's 1570. Was the son of this guy, his father Claus. So yeah, can you tell me about the great ancestors here? Where were his parents from and his parents' parents? Then it's this guy is recognized as an early ancestor of the Roosevelt family. However, detailed information about his parents and earlier lineage is limited. Available records do not provide specific details about his parents' identities or origins. Similarly, information about his grandparents and earlier ancestors remains scarce. The Roosevelt family's documented genealogy become more detailed with later generations, particularly with this asshole who we just talked about. So it's interesting. Here, it talks about the genealogy. Right? Now, this is important because look at what I end up doing to this silly AI. I just like to call it, oh, this is artificial intelligence, man. No, this is no intelligence. That's what it is. It's just all bullshit, right? So anyway, this is what I do to it, right? So I'm like, I don't think you are trying hard enough. If what you say is true, why is it that this little girl was able to tie him to royalty? And then I shared this Daily Mail article, which is from 2011 or 2012 or something like that, where she proves that all presidents, except for one, it's Martin Van Buren, are directly descended from medieval English king, the one who signed the Magna Carta, right? So this is its response. Theodore Roosevelt's ancestry includes connections to European nobility, notably through his maternal lineage. His mother, Martha Mitty Bullock, descended from the Bullock family of Georgia, which has documented ties to Scottish and English aristocracy. Through these connections, Roosevelt's lineage can be traced back to medieval European royalty, including figures such as King Edward III of England. This royal descent is not unique to Roosevelt. Genealogical research has shown that many U.S. presidents share ancestral links to European nobility.
Holy shit! Somebody call that fucking 111! Somebody call that fucking 111!
And it's like, oh, all of a sudden, now all of a sudden ChatGPT is all like, oh, well, I guess it's not so scarce. I guess that information is just not so scarce. So then my response is, why couldn't you do that before? Why did you lie? I didn't intend to mislead or lie. The earlier responses were based on direct ancestral records of the Roosevelt family, particularly through this asshole over here, who was the first in the family to come to America. It's like, bro, you just said over here. Through his mother, through his maternal lineage. Those records often don't explicitly highlight connections to European royalty without extensive genealogical research connecting multiple family lines. The information about royalty comes from broader genealogical studies that tie American families to European nobility through complex webs of intermarriage. No, they're direct descents. It's not a complex web of intermarriage. As it says here, through his maternal ancestry from the Bollock family of Georgia, they're directly connected to this royal ancestry, to this European aristocracy. The source you shared highlight one of these connections, which goes beyond typical Roosevelt-specific ancestry sources. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. It's a reminder to consider wider genealogical context when looking at historical figures. So it just does this plausible deniability bullshit. Okay, this just goes to show you can't trust the AI with everything. It's a great research tool, but you got to be smarter than it. And the problem is, most people aren't smarter than it. Anyway, that's just a kind of segue into this week's in Mega Stupidity, because we got some Mega Stupidity going on, and we got a lot of things to cover.
You want to see what's really going on? Come on.
So we're going to start off with, of course, a Trump kind of discussion. I think I have this ordered, like it's like political, and then after political, it's like geopolitical, and then like after the geopolitical, there's like some other, it's like a psychological manipulation and sort of programming, and then some health stuff, and then like I'm going to finish it off with like a bunch of kind of like mediocre articles. But there's a lot of stuff here. So anyway, let's get right into this. So Pete Hegseth promises to give up alcohol as defense secretary as binge drinking claims threatened nomination. Yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. All right, this guy, Pete Hegseth, it's like, bro, if you're an alcoholic, man, you got problems. A lot of these people are probably alcoholics. I don't blame them. They probably have to drink a lot of alcohol because they have no soul inside of them. You know, I've discussed things with people, and it's like alcohol, they call it spirits for a reason. It sort of makes you feel like you have more spirit. These people have no spirit. They have no soul. So they got to drown themselves in as many spirits as possible. Soulless demons running amok. Now, next article, same thing. Pete Hegseth breaks silence to Megyn Kelly on why he paid off rape accuser. Of course, it's just a bunch of freaking sophistry. You know, it's really simple. Why do you have a rape accuser to begin with? I've been alive for 35 years. I don't have any rape accusers, nor do I plan on obtaining any rape accusers anytime soon. Because I have this thing called a conscience that sort of makes me think when I'm having sexual relations with people or having any relations with people, and I say, hey, you know, is this wrong? Can this be like skewed as morally wrong? Can this show that I have a lack of integrity? And like, you know, I'm very, I don't want to say self-conscious, but I'm very aware of myself, of the people that I'm interacting with, and I don't like to put people through horrible experiences. I'm not saying that I've never put a person through a horrible experience. Sure, I probably have broken a heart or two in my time, but it was mostly unintentional, and I tried to pull back from it as quickly as possible. You can't make everybody happy. That's real simple, but you can also make sure that you don't have any false rape accusations on your record. If they are false in this guy's case, which I really doubt when we see the next article here. Trump's defense pick, Pete Hegseth, drunken strip club escapades and rampant sexual harassment revealed in new scathing whistleblower report. Now I'm going to comment on a friend that I used to have. So I had a friend, I haven't hung out with him in a while because he's a piece of shit. And I've recognized that he's a piece of shit. And this friend probably actually can have rape accusations levied against them. He's the kind of piece of shit who, like, a girl would be like, hey, do you have a condom on? He's like, yeah, totally, I have a condom on. And he doesn't have a condom on. And then he proceeds to ejaculate inside of them, like a scumbag. This same scumbag friend, or old friend of mine, actually, he wouldn't even be considered a friend. He's just an acquaintance. You know, friends are people that you have things in common with. I have very few of those. I have very few people that I have things in common with. But yeah, this piece of shit, man, he was getting into, like, strip clubs and stuff, and he would tell me about his strip club escapades. And, like, he wanted me to go to a strip club with him, like, before I stopped hanging out with him. And I'm just like, no, dude, that's, like, not my scene. It's like, yeah, what, I want to stay up until, like, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to some fucking strip club? I don't think so. And anyway, this guy reminds me a lot of this friend of mine. Very similar characters, probably. But anyway, total lowlife, total scumbag. Yep. Not surprising that Trump picked him. You know, we have the commander in grabbing woman by the pussy, chief, over here, the Vax Daddy. He has absolutely zero integrity. This guy Trump has zero freaking integrity. And our next article proves that. So check this out. This was in the Financial Times. Elon Musk donated more than $250 million to Donald Trump's campaign, electoral filings show.
Yo, fuck nuts.
You talking to me? Yeah, you know.
And by the way, yeah, this is the single largest political donation from an individual in history. This scumbag over here. And Trump, I mean, we've seen what Trump has said about him before. You know, the flip-flop master-in-chief over here, Donald Trump. He used to, like, criticize him. And now he's just like, yeah, I'm going to make him the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. That's what I'm going to do. And of course, this is probably just Elon Musk trying to buy his way from actually being investigated for fraud. Because, as Thunderfoot has pointed out in several of his videos, this guy should be in prison. You know, we had Theranos, we had a couple of other fraudsters who made fraudulent claims about their product. Those people are sitting in prison now. Musk has made fraudulent claim after fraudulent claim about his products. Oh yeah, full self-driving. Yeah, it's going to be next year. Full self-driving next year. That stuff artificially raised the price of Tesla stocks. Oh yeah, it's going to be financially insane to own anything other than a Tesla because your Tesla, your $30,000 Tesla is going to, or however much they were selling at the time, however much he was claiming that they would make $30,000 a year off of the driverless or the self-driving taxi. He was like, yeah, self-driving, it's already here. We can go from a parking lot in California to a parking lot in New York without anybody touching the steering wheel. And he was like that they were going to use driverless taxi and that a person could turn their car, their Tesla, into a driverless taxi that will make them profits without them having to be in the car. Complete insanely fraudulent claims. This guy is a total con. He was telling people that he's working on his new Roadster way back in like 2017, 2016, saying, oh yeah, we're working on it. It's going to be here. He was taking people's payments for that Roadster that is still not in production. Total con man, total POS. Not surprising that after he gave Donald Trump or donated $250+ million to his campaign, the soulless person with zero integrity, the complete POS over here that everybody worships like he's freaking Jesus, he's like, oh yeah, come on board. I'm going to get you a job, and I'm going to make sure not to investigate you for fraud. And if I do, don't worry, I'll probably pardon you the same way that Biden pardoned his son. Bunch of fraudsters. So let's look at our next article over here. We're going to enter some geopolitical news here. This is from November 30th, 2024. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers have deserted, hampering battle plans. So yeah, the Ukrainians are getting their asses handed to them over there. And this is why they're doing everything that they can to like drag us into that conflict. And of course, it's all smoke and mirrors. What it is they just need to make it appear like in the historical record that these are the reasons that humanity was dragged into this conflict and the reason why millions of people had to die and will die in the future, probably. I hope not. Hopefully this thing doesn't go nuclear. It doesn't seem like it's entirely heading that way, but it also seems like they're trying to push it that way as much as possible. Maybe it's for psychological reasons to keep people in a certain psychological state of mind. Maybe it's because they really want to go there. I don't know. It could just be Cold War 2.0, keeping people in like this constant state of fear where they think that they need this government, or that there's this boogeyman out there, or that we're the boogeyman. Who knows? Could be either or. Just some interesting stuff here. Ukraine is getting their asses handed to them. And that brings us over to Lebanon. And specifically, what we're going to be talking about shortly is Syria. I'll be getting there in a second. But let's first talk about Lebanon, right? So, displaced Lebanese residents returning home to scenes of destruction. So Israel went on a campaign of destruction in southern Lebanon. They were like, who was in Lebanon? It wasn't Hamas. It was the other group. I don't even let's see what we have here. Oh, Hezbollah. It's right here. An RT crew that traveled to southern Lebanon days after a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah came into effect. Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas, all of the leaders in these groups, they're all working together to F over the plebs. It's really obvious, okay? So they have this over here. They completely decimated this place, destroyed homes, civilian infrastructure. It all ties back into something that I remember hearing about years ago. I mean, people actually used to talk about this. I haven't heard it in like a solid decade. But like over a decade ago, in the Iraq War and like the Afghan War, there was this discussion about the Greater Israel Project. And it was basically to make, Israel even larger and more expansive for whatever reasons. And it completely died off, but that seems like what they're trying to do here. Because guess what's happening here? Not only are they destroying these places, but there's actually Israeli settlers also coming in and trying to occupy these regions. Let's see. Is it mentioned in this article, or was it in another article? So resorts to attacking medical facilities. What has a hospital to do with what is happening? Yeah. I mean, they bombed the hospital. They bombed schools. They bombed everything. Every freaking structure they bombed. Nearly 1.2 million people have been displaced by Israel's invasion. This isn't just in southern Lebanon alone. They displaced 1.2 million here. And they did the same exact thing in Gaza. So let's go over here, right? Israel committing genocide in Gaza, rights group. So the Jewish state is intent on physically destroying Palestinians, Amnesty International has claimed. Human rights group Amnesty International has accused Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza in a damning report released on Thursday. Titled, "You Feel Like You Are Subhuman, Israel's Genocide Against Palestinians in Gaza." The document describes the killing of civilians, destruction of civilian infrastructure, forcible displacement, the obstruction or denial of life-saving goods and humanitarian aid by Israel in Gaza since October last year. Man, it was insane. I remember like every single unjust bombing that happened. Remember like early on in this genocide, if you want to call it that. Early on in this, like Israel was like, oh yeah, here's a corridor for you guys to evacuate, for you guys to leave Gaza. It was like a corridor from like Gaza to Egypt or whatever. And they were like, yeah, use this. You guys will be safe. And then they proceeded to bomb people as they were like using that to leave the area. They killed hundreds, if not thousands of people, bombing that supposed like humanitarian corridor, or that like corridor that they were like, yeah, you can use this to evacuate. Bomb the shit out of it. So hostilities between Israel and Hamas and the Palestinian enclaves flared up when the militant group attacked southern Israel on October 7th, 2023, killing around 1,100 people. Overinflated number. Israel was also responsible for killing some of these people. You can look up actually Jewish people's testimonies themselves. There were these people in the kibbutz houses, or whatever those houses were called. And they were like, they were saying that, oh yeah, we were being held hostage. There were some like militant groups there with us. And then the tanks just started to fire on the houses, freaking blowing up these houses. And you can see the destruction. If like you check the aftermath, when they claimed like, oh yeah, Hamas killed all these people, these houses were fucking like blown to pieces. These kibbutz houses were blown to pieces like they were shot up with tanks. And that's exactly what the Jewish people who lived there said happened. They were like, yeah, actually the Jewish people, the Israeli government went there with tanks and pretty much weren't taking any prisoners. They tried killing as many people as possible so that they can have this hugely inflated number and say, yes, Hamas was responsible for all of those killings. It's insanity what actually happened. I'm sure that history will never know the real extent of the crime that was committed there. It's like 9/11 times 100. Well, not times 100 because the the death rate isn't times 100 or whatever, but it's still insane what happened there. So anyway, the massive military retaliation by Israel has claimed more than 44,500. Wait a second. What is this? This is not okay. The massive military retaliation by Israel has claimed more than, I guess this is supposed to be 44,500. Or maybe this is correct. Maybe it's 445,000 lives in the enclave. That actually seems like a more realistic number. When you look at the sheer destruction, when you look at the types of bombing that they've been doing, when you look at the fact that they've been cutting off life-saving goods and humanitarian aid, I wouldn't be surprised if, it's not that this has an extra zero that's not supposed to be there. It's probably that this comma is in the wrong place. I would not be surprised at all if hundreds of thousands of people have died and not tens of thousands of people. Anyway, according to Gaza health official, Israel's relentless destruction in Gaza has caused the displacement of about 1.9 million Palestinians, more than 90% of the territory's population, according to the UN. So they've displaced 1.9 million here. In southern Lebanon, they displaced 1.2 million. They're trying to make their state bigger. Or I don't know what they're trying to do. Maybe it's just human sacrifice for some satanic god that they all, well, not all of them, but that the government secretly worships. I don't put all the Jewish people into the same basket as the government. That's the one actually doing all of this and manipulating the minds of their citizenry. Not their fault. It's the fault of the soulless demons at the top. So anyway, month after month, Israel has treated Palestinians in Gaza as subhuman group unworthy of human rights and dignity, demonstrating its intent to physically destroy them. Anyway, let's go down. Let's actually look at their response, right? I think, let's see, last month the Human Rights Group official report that nearly 70% of verified victims over a 6-month period were women and children. Yeah, 70% of verified victims over a 6-month period were women and children. So the number raised concerns of war crimes and other possible atrocity crimes. The agency said the International Criminal Court, they put out a warrant for Netanyahu's arrest against, he's for responsibility for acts including murder, persecution, and starvation used as a weapon of war against the civilian population of Gaza. And now check out their comment, right? This is Israel's response. Israel rejects with disgust the absurd and false actions leveled against it by ICC, Netanyahu said in response at the time. Israel officials have argued that their actions in Gaza are lawful and justified by the military goal of eradicating Hamas.
Can
you believe this shit? 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
The thing is that they just see everybody who lives there, all citizens. I guess the women and children, I guess they see them all as Hamas. Is that what it is? It's absurd what's actually happening there. And remember, Israel knew that Hamas was planning this October 7th attack way in advance. They just chose not to do anything about it. Turn a blind eye. I wouldn't be surprised if they moved their security forces away from the area so that they couldn't respond in a timely fashion. It's basically like Pearl Harbor 2.0. They had advanced knowledge that the Japanese were going to attack on Pearl Harbor. What did they do? They took the planes and they parked them with their propellers facing inwards so that they wouldn't be able to quickly take off. All the important ships weren't actually in the harbor. Most of the ships that were destroyed in Pearl Harbor at the time were old, basically out-of-date ships. This is basically Pearl Harbor 2.0. And it's interesting because even the dates are kind of a coincidence. October 7th is this Hamas attack. December 7th was the Japanese attack. So anyway, let's move on though. And this is where the psychological manipulation comes in. I guess it's sort of gaslighting, right? So we have this unhinged man dubbed Mac Nazi terrorizing New York City. He's terrorizing New York City. What is he doing? Oh, he's ripping down Israeli hostage posters. So the New York Post has the audacity to have this, they basically dox this guy. They completely dox him. An unhinged Israeli-hating dog walker who lives with his TV actress sister on the Upper West Side is terrorizing the neighborhood. He's terrorizing. He's committing genocide. Oh, he's a terrorist. What is he doing? Repeatedly ripping down Israeli hostage posters and allegedly assaulting anyone who dares get in his way. Allegedly, right? So, he really just hates Jews. That's what it is. Yeah, it's not the Israeli government that he hates. It's Jews. I don't understand how the two are synonymous with each other. They're very, very different people. There's many different types of Jews. There are actually Jews that are against the state of Israel. I mean, this is so ridiculous that they make it like it's a monolith. But anyway, it's really interesting. The New York Post, they cover this guy, they dox him, they got all kinds of pictures of him. Do they have a single article covering the genocide going on in Gaza? No, definitely not. They have more important things to report on. Don't worry about this campaign of terror being carried out by the Israeli government. No. We got bigger fish to fry. This guy is taking down Israeli hostage posters. And this is all just like trying to psychologically manipulate us. Not just distract us, but then make it like, oh yeah, this is the problem here. That this is wrong. And we got a bunch of articles like this to look at. We got articles like this in every walk of life that we're going to be looking at, right? This is just our first one of them trying to make it like, oh yeah, this is a problem here. People who do this, they deserve your contempt. They deserve your hatred and your animosity. Go out and get them. They're the problem. Anyway, let's move on. Our next article over here. Oh, by the way, this story over here is freaking pathetic here. Story of missing man found by sister after 25 years takes a dark turn. Turns out this guy's like a fucking pedo. He's on like the sex registry list. But he was on that list. He was put on that list. He did that crime before he even went missing. But I'm not going to talk about that. Just a stupid ass fucking story, right? So Bashar al-Assad is mocked as rebels unearth photos of Syrian president in tiny pair of Speedos as militants take over Homs. So these are really hilarious pictures. Like, this guy just looks goofy as hell. Like, he just looks like he's never done a push-up in his life. Like, he looks like he's just wearing a flesh suit. Like, I can say so many things about this. This guy is, like, a pathetic example of a human being. So anyway, so what's actually happening here in Syria? It's really interesting. I watched a military, breakdown. There's a couple of people on YouTube who do really great military analysis and cover, all of the news surrounding that. And it's interesting. So what ended up happening was, Russia, I'm sure maybe some of you saw it in the news a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a week ago, not even a couple weeks ago. This has been happening and unfolding pretty quickly. So these rebels, these terrorists that are obviously funded by Western groups, they started to attack some cities. They were taking over. I think they took over Aleppo, like the second largest city in Syria. Then Russia went and bombed them. Iran had some people come in to try to help out Assad over here. And then guess who came in to help these terrorists? Israel did. Israel went in and then bombed these Iranian militias that went in to go and help Assad and to take out these terrorists in Syria. Israel decided to get involved and actually bomb those militant groups. And then that's when Russia was like, you know what, we're pulling out. We're getting out of here. And Russia decided to redirect their efforts back to Ukraine. I think that there's two things going on here. I think one, it was a way to try to redirect Russian military assets to this region. And Russia probably caught on to that really quick. Or Russia was like, oh, okay, well, Israel's over here bombing people. Well, we're not going to get pulled into that sort of scenario where Israel has assets in here, then we have assets in here, then they're going to claim that our assets attacked their assets or bombed their assets. So Russia got the hell out of there. But it's interesting that Israel's over here providing military assistance to these terrorists that have basically retaken over that have retaken over Syria. Now remember, when Trump was in office, he was fucking providing aid to these ISIS individuals. Now it's interesting, they're not calling themselves ISIS, but he was. I had done some videos. There was a bunch of articles I've talked about in other videos, evidence that showed that that our supposedly Syrian democratic forces were just also providing cover for these ISIS, these extreme militants and stuff. But it's basically happening again. It's like Trump is coming back into office, and they're like, yeah, we can go back to doing all these shenanigans. Not that it would have been any different when, Biden was there. I'm sure if Biden had a second term, they would be doing the same thing. But really interesting stuff going on here. How you can discern some truth by just looking at the actions of these different parties. So anyway, let's move on to our next article. I want to cover this one right here. World War III has begun. This is from December 1st. I'm recording this video on December 8th. So World War III has begun. No atomic mushroom clouds, no nightmare day after scenario to survive, but military experts explain why they believe the Third World War has already started. Now, I've seen a bunch of videos like this. This is just more psychological manipulation. This is to desensitize us to what is unfolding in front of our eyes. Make it seem like, oh yeah, there's nothing we can do. You know, it's already started. World War III is already here. Don't go and protest. Don't try to like stop it from happening. Just get used to the idea. That's actually what's really happening here. Articles like this, all these counterintelligence shills on all of these different platforms, BitChute, Odyssey, YouTube, all of them that push this message, their job is to desensitize you to this idea. To make it like, oh, yep, it's already here. You know, don't worry about it. Nothing can be done. You know, no going back now. People should be on the streets protesting the shit out of this. People should be demanding that we stop providing military aid to all of these countries around the world. All these fucking climate shills that are like, oh, the climate. Well, guess what's really destroying the climate? You think these bombs and these jets and these tanks and stuff, according to you, if the CO2 is really bad, even though it's all bullshit, but why is Greta Thunberg not out there protesting this stuff? Why is she not demanding the end of all military aid to all countries? Why is that not happening? And it's funny because I talked to somebody about this like a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I was on a channel's live stream. They were having this live stream. It was probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. I decided to hop in. They had it open for people to hop in. And I was talking to people about my new form of government. And they were like, oh, but you need a standing army to fight off like the bad guy, to stop somebody that's trying to like spread empire. And they called me naive for not seeing that. And I said, no, I'm not naive for seeing that. You're naive for thinking that that's even possible. All empires crumble under their own weight. These people don't know shit about history. All they have is these naive delusions that have been programmed into their head by the mass media and by these soulless demons that have taken over everything. It's really simple. If you study history, all empires will crumble under their own weight because they're unjust. And in order for them to maintain themselves, they need to spend a lot of money. They need to spend a lot of money on security, on oppressing people, and on watching them, on data centers. It's impossible for them to last for a long time. They will crumble under their own weight. And that's why this whole idea of like, oh yeah, we have to be doing this is complete nonsense. It's complete bullshit. They want you to think that, just like they want you to think that it's wrong for this guy to be pulling down those hostage posters that are basically being used to get people to think that it's okay what Israel's doing. And that's really what those are. Those posters are just to remind people, oh yeah, look, Israel's justified in what they're doing. Remember, these people were kidnapped, and Israel's actually the one killing them while they're like in captivity, like when they're being held hostage. Israel's bombing and killing a lot of them. And it's actually really funny because there was an article, well, it's not funny, it's pretty pathetic. But there was an article, I believe I covered it a while ago. It should be on here. It might have been on my previous channel, though, that I made all of those videos private. But I covered an article, and it's like there was these two guys, these two hostages, that were basically like left. And when like Israel forces came over, they had like a white flag, and they were trying to like approach them saying that they're Israeli citizens or whatever. And the Israeli forces just shot at them. I think they killed one of them, and they ended up seriously injuring another one. And it's like, what the hell are you guys doing, man? You're just like shooting first, asking questions later. Not even asking questions later. Just shoot, kill. Fucking bunch of low IQ people over there. That's how this has to be. Like, I mean, a nation of sheep will be governed by wolves. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what's in the water. I guess it's like the propaganda. I guess I can't entirely blame them for that. It's their government. It's the soulless demon's fault. And that's what I always try to keep in mind. But once again, you can fool people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. Anyway, let's move on to our next article. Details of Russia and North Korea indefinite security agreement revealed. So, of course, there's alliances being built over here, which can, just push closer and closer to this global conflict that people are saying World War III. The stage is being set. Anyway, returning back to our own national politics here in the United States, there was this hilarious article, right? So Biden went over to this African nation, Angola, and man, he referred to this country as a city. He calls Angola a city, as he's led around Africa, as it says here, around Africa, Like a lost child. A lot of these articles were titled like Biden was being led around like a lost child. And this president literally had to like grab him by the arm, direct him where to go. You can kind of see it here. It's like, dude, you're wandering off. Come on, Sleepy Joe. Get with the program, man. And then we got this next article while we're still talking about Biden. Biden accused of extending Hunter's shock pardon to cover his alleged corruption at Burisma in 2014. Now, this is the funniest thing. It's like, not only did Biden say he would not interfere with the courts, with the justice system, but then he goes and not only pardons him for his current crimes, his most recent crimes, but he decides to pardon him for any and all crimes going all the way back to 2014. People should be rioting on the fucking streets. People should be demanding his head. Not that, but people should be demanding that he's charged with corruption. I mean, this is obvious. This is clear, obvious corruption and abuse of power. This should not be allowed. This should be considered abuse of power. And this is another reason why we need a completely new system. Presidents should not have this power to pardon anybody that they please. There should be oversight to this. This is insanity. And this is actually something that the Anti-Federalists complained about. The Anti-Federalists made a huge deal about the president's pardoning power. Something that must be undone. Something, just another reason why this system needs to be changed. Why we need a brand new system, a brand new constitution. Moving on to our next article, of course, we're still talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden falls asleep on live TV at Africa Summit in another embarrassing moment. I mean, how can this guy even sleep at night? No, he's just sleeping all day, man. Spreading death and destruction around the world, spreading death and destruction at home, and he just sleeps like a fucking baby. Not just at night, he sleeps like a baby everywhere he goes. And this just goes to show they know that this is like a slap in our face. They are basically laughing at us. They know we are powerless. Why? Because we are divided. Because people can't even fucking do something as simple as supporting somebody, one of the only people out there really being truthful. One of the only people out there who actually has a new system in mind that can actually implement real change. People can't even do something as simple as support this motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about myself here, everybody. It's insane. So, of course, how are we going to get our shit together? People are so divided. People are so focused on themselves. People are so fixated on total and complete nonsense. So, of course, they sleep like babies because they know that we are sheep. That we are sheep, that we have no integrity, that we are not willing to actually take a stand and get behind what needs to be gotten behind. All too divided, all too fucking dumbed down. It's insanity. I'm sorry for getting a little upset here. Excuse me, there's only death and destruction and genocide occurring all around the world. Sorry that I get a little emotional about it. Oh, I gotta be more stoic. Anyway, Apple accused of spying on employees' iPhones in new lawsuit. Not surprising. It's not just Apple doing it. I think our next article... actually, where's our other article? I think we also had one about the FBI. Let's see. I think man, did I X that article out? Oh no, here it goes. Let's get this article up here. FBI issues grave warning to all iPhone and Android users, basically all fucking phones. Stop sending texts. The FBI has issued a warning to Americans about sending regular text messages between Androids and iPhones. The agency revealed that exchanges between the two brands leave messages vulnerable to hackers. Instead, users are advised to use secure encrypted messaging and phone calls on apps like WhatsApp to prevent third parties from accessing conversations. What's actually happening is like these companies, they've left these back doors open for the FBI and for the club to spy on us. And there are now third-party hackers taking advantage of this. So they might as well just come and be like, hey, everybody, you should know there's third parties using the things that we use. They're using our tools, so just be aware. Pretty much all of your phone calls, all of your texts can easily be hacked and then spied on and then revealed to the public. Insane. That's actually what's really going on here. So just careful what you send through text, what you talk about on the phone. You know, there's a third party out there who's basically using it. It's probably not even like a third party. It's probably just the club. And now they're just like, oh yeah, it's not us. It's not us leaking your possibly socially incriminating information. It's not even incriminating. It's just like, oh, this person said this. This person disagrees with the trend that's in now. Let's all hunt them down. Oh, they're tearing down hostage posters. They're terrorizing people. Oh, insanity. Complete and utter insanity. So anyway, we're moving on to less insane news. China claims to have unearthed the largest gold deposit in the world, worth $83 billion of gold. Interesting timing. Can possibly lead to gold-backed currency, or push them more that way. They can be like, hey, we don't actually need the dollar as much. We'll just go with the gold-backed currency. Maybe this is just directing the world in that way, and this would be like a final nail in that coffin. Or maybe it's just complete bullshit claims. Could be just completely bullshit claims. Either one. But anyway, let's talk about gold, right? So it's not just China, right? So El Salvador's president reveals gold reserve that could transform the economy. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, is currently one of the main topics in the world. He's currently one of the main topics in the world, but have you heard of him? I bet you haven't. Let's read a little bit about him, because now you're about to hear about this guy. The 43-year-old politician who came to power in 2019 has done impressive things for this country. Bukele became a part of politics only in 2011 and quickly experienced huge growth, gaining the trust of the citizens. The moves he made amazed the citizens of El Salvador. Namely, he implemented many laws to reduce the homicide rate in this country, which was a huge problem year after year. Homicides fell by 50% during his first year in office. The event in 2022, when 87 people were killed by the mafia, forced the young president to initiate a nationwide crackdown on gangs, after which over 83,000 people were arrested. I have heard reports that some innocent people were caught up in this. So maybe not perfect, maybe I guess a move towards perfection, but still, it's innocent people shouldn't have to get wrapped up in this. But interesting crackdown. Bukele made a lot of great moves, but the latest report in a series caused special excitement among the citizens. Namely, in his address to the citizens during a rally, he stressed that El Salvador is lying on gold, believing they have a potential that needs to be used. He is concerned about the fact that El Salvador is the only country that defends, this can't be right, that defends mining. It's actually, that doesn't allow mining. They must have the incorrect language here. He acknowledges that resources must be used. We are the only country that bans excavation and mining. Neither do Honduras, Guatemala, the USA. Europe is full of mines. We would like to have parts of the country that will look like Qatar. How do you think Qatar got there? They are in the desert, said Bukele. Well, they decide to mine their oil. In the following, the president of the Central American country pointed out that it's necessary to develop the country. Since coming to the position of president, the 43-year-old has said that he'll change many things, helping this country progress economically. I know we have to develop the country. The mines are less than 1% of the territory. Anyway, let's just see how much fucking he claims is there, right? Bukele referred to the gold reserves, which are estimated at $3 billion. In addition, they found other minerals that could help this country to be reborn. It's not $3 billion. He claims $3 trillion. Let's see where it is. Yeah, here it is. These things are all fucked up. This article, it must be like the translation. The potential gold reserves that El Salvador has are estimated at $3 trillion. That's more than 8,000% of GDP. That's just gold. According to the first studies, we also found minerals for the fourth industrial revolution. These are cobalt, nickel, lithium, he said. So yeah, I actually saw the speech, the address that he gave with this, and he actually even says in English, he's like, look, this is not to be mistaken. I said $3 trillion, not $3 billion. So it's interesting that they still got what he said wrong over here, because he does emphasize $3 trillion worth of gold. Really interesting stuff. Is this guy really meaning well for the country? Probably not. He probably wants to turn the country. I have this saying, they created an artificial environment which makes us live artificial lives. He probably wants to get rid of the farmings and maybe the agricultural elements of El Salvador's economy and turn it into this fucking, like he said, Qatar. This service economy that will service the rich and wealthy. And he's going to use all this gold probably to create a surveillance state. yeah, he's going to develop the economy. He's going to develop the country. And on a superficial level, people will think that it's great. And, oh man, we've advanced so far. But no, he just wants to use it to construct their prison. That's at least what I think. I don't trust any of these soulless demons. Especially somebody that... I'm not even going to make any comments. Let's not make any comments on the way this guy looks, right? So, anyway, while we're still talking about gold over here, experts says he has solved the mystery of lost Nazi treasure worth billions, but is being blocked from digging up the huge hoard of stolen loot by German red tape. Now, I saw this article. This is a recent article, December 2nd. This guy believes he's solved this mystery of the Nazi treasure, and it's worth billions of dollars. He thinks he knows where it is, but he's being blocked by the government. Now, this reminded me of this article from, actually, this is like kind of the most updated version or the most recent reporting of this. Former agent resurfaces theory FBI stole secret cache of Civil War gold from a treasure hunter. So going back a couple of years ago, you had this treasure hunter. Yeah, treasure hunter claimed he had found buried gold in 2018 and tipped off the FBI to help recover the treasure. But nothing was found after a 3-day investigation. No, something was found. It's just they stole it. And he knows that they stole it because he was basically using like microgravity technology to show that there was something there in the ground. And then like they came in and they basically they stole it, right? But the shipment vanished, allegedly stolen by this is just like what happened back in the day. Anyway, this guy made a pretty clear claim that they stole it, right? Now, we have another article, and it was actually a witness. I'll go here. I'll just have to go back. New witness shares what they saw in the woods during a secretive FBI hunt for Civil War gold. This was back October 7th of 2023 in the heart of Pennsylvania, Elk Country. Eric McCarthy and his client got up before sunrise to scour the forest floor for so-called brown gold, a rack of freshly shed antlers to add to Reichler's collection back home. So they're looking for antlers, right? One hill over, a team of FBI agents was also hunting for gold, the metallic yellow kind. So anyway, he claims now 2 witnesses have come forward to share with the Associated Press what they heard and saw in the woods that late winter morning, raising questions about the FBI's timeline and adding plot twist to a saga that blends elements of legend, fact, and science, and a heavy dose of government secrecy. Yeah, the government came in and basically stole this gold. Okay, treasure hunter found it. They came in and they stole it. Now, I want to quickly digress and talk about the laws surrounding metal detectors. So, you know those little metal detectors that you can go and you can look for little treasures? Look up the laws surrounding that. At least the laws here in New York, they're awful. They pretty much make it so that nobody can use a metal detector to find anything that would actually improve their own life. Like, they can basically confiscate anything of any value. If you're out metal detecting, a parks police or a police officer can come up and basically search you. They can violate your rights. They can search you. Basically, having a metal detector, you have to give up your rights because you agree in your permit to these stipulations where you have to turn everything over to them. And this is a travesty for history and a whole bunch of things. The laws surrounding that shit, completely unjust. It's disgusting. I only know them because I wanted to get into metal detecting because I have an affinity for history and I thought I could, use a metal detector to find maybe little historical artifacts, maybe like old coins or something like that. Just fun stuff. And also, just a quick way to make some money. Hey, go on the beach, metal detect, you find all kinds of jewelry and stuff that people lose. You can turn that in and make a quick buck. No. They make it impossible for us plebs to build ourselves up in that manner. They're like, nope, not going to happen. Make sure every source that you can try to build yourself up as an outside person. Oh no, if you're making great videos, we'll turn the algorithm against you. We'll make sure your channel cannot be monetized. Can't get any ads. Oh, you want to go out with the metal detector? Nope. You can't do that either. Well, you can, but we're just going to take everything that you find. It's pathetic. Anyway, let's move on to our next article. Speaking of the FBI. So D.B. Cooper mystery solved. Brother claims their dad was the infamous hijacker. Now, this is really interesting. The most interesting thing about this is that this guy actually, Richard McCoy, the real McCoy, he actually tried committing a similar crime not long after pulling off the D.B. Cooper heist. He tried doing a similar crime, and then he was busted doing that crime. He was put into jail, and then he committed like a prison break, and then they killed him during this prison break. And you can see he looks just like the fucking, like the sketch of this guy. He tried committing an identical crime shortly after. So you would think that these intelligence agents knew for a long time, or these intelligent agencies knew for a long time that this guy was D.B. Cooper. I mean, it's really obvious. I'm sure that they interviewed him afterwards too. I don't know if he would have confessed to it, maybe not, because then they would have like confiscated whatever money or whatever houses that his kids and wife were living in. But it's really obvious that this guy was D.B. Cooper, but yet they let this fucking myth continue on for so long. Oh yeah, it's unsolved. We don't actually know what happened to him. Oh yeah, he's out there. Yeah, keep going out there and, being a mindless sheep chasing this guy around that we know has been dead for decades. But anyway, his kids finally came forward, and they had the parachute that he used to escape the plane. And they basically showed the FBI, and they claimed that they waited so long because they didn't want their mother to be caught up in all of this. I would laugh, though, if they well, actually, I guess they couldn't be considered accessories because they were kids at the time. He would have been dead for decades. But maybe concealing information like from a federal investigation. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they find some way to charge his offsprings with something, because they came out and they ruined this cash cow of theirs that they've probably made money off of. But anyway, let's move on to our next article. This is also going back to the psychological manipulation, right? So judge gunned down by sheriff ran courthouse like a brothel and sextortion scheme. So I want to say a couple things about this. This sheriff who gunned this guy down, he's a piece of shit. But he's a piece of shit not because he gunned down this fucking piece of shit judge. He's a piece of shit because he knew this judge was doing all kinds of corrupt things for years. So there's witnesses that came out and they told police they ran it like a brothel. They made this one lady do these sex favors to get out of her sentencing and stuff. And they've apparently they've been doing this for a long time. These guys have been best pals for 30 years or something. He definitely knew what the judge was doing. I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved in it. They were making money off of this. And basically what it looks like is that he shot this guy because he found out that the guy was now whoring out his daughter. This guy has a daughter, and he basically probably found out that this guy's daughter was now working in the brothel house as a little whore, and he got upset. Oh, how dare you whore out my daughter like you whore out these other girls, and he killed them. So, oh yeah, it's a problem when it's your own personal daughter, but when it's happening to other innocent people, and when it's happening to people who are just trying to get out of crimes, not even make money, oh no, fuck those people. These people are all scumbags. If you ask me, they all deserve some special treatment. And what's really funny, though, is that most people in the comments, and your average person, they would find this guy innocent at least of killing him, but probably guilty of also running this brothel with this guy. But now this goes into our next article over here. This guy who killed the healthcare CEO, right? Author whose book title was misquoted by healthcare boss's assassin sparks fury with shock profiteering post. So we got this article. The author of this book, it was deny, defend, or I'm sorry, delay, deny, defend. This is the book. That's the book title, right? And then it's subtitled "Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It." So anyway, so the author of this book, it's sold out. A whole bunch of people want to read it. So he put up a post and he was like, "Hey, look, it'll be back in stock. Just wait a little bit." And he was also like, "Oh yeah, you can also get it on Kindle." And he's just basically telling people who have interest in this book that, hey, you can get it, right? And it's funny too. This guy looks so nice in this picture. If you see other pictures of him, he looks like the soulless demon that he is, right? Now, what's interesting though is I'm sure most people are so happy with this, and we do see that, right? Let's look at our next article actually. Insider. Okay, no, this is our next article about the same topic before we move on to the next one. It's interesting. So they find his backpack, and inside of his backpack, this is titled "Bizarre Items They Found Inside the Healthcare CEO's Assassin's Backpack." It's not so bizarre. They found a jacket, probably the jacket he was using, but then they also found Monopoly money. I thought that was hilarious. This guy's trolling the shit out of these people. Now, what's interesting, though, is we got this article over here. New Yorkers celebrate assassination of United Healthcare CEO with shooter look-alike contest. I wear this every day. Now, the actual, pin of this page, before you go to this article, it's like, it makes it like this is disgusting. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are disgusting for doing this. So New Yorkers mockingly celebrated the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Washington Square Park with a truly tasteless shooter look-alike contest. So the news wants you to think that, oh, it's so bad, we lost a true asset to humanity. Oh yes, humanity, oh, we're now at a net negative because this soulless demon was taken out. Nah, man, I'm sorry, but kudos to the assassin. All right? I mean, look at what happened. I mean, they reversed their policy. After that, they reversed their policy. They're like, oh shit, we're actually pretty unjust for trying to have this healthcare policy that charges people or that their insurance will like cut off if they have a operation that uses too much anesthesia, or where their anesthesia is going on for too long, or some crazy shit like that, and a bunch of other stuff. These people are all soulless demons, and honestly, I say this is a world I wouldn't mind living in. Okay, these people are completely unjust, and unjust things should happen to them. I mean, sure, I do strongly believe in the course. I do strongly believe in a justice system that actually verifies their unjustness. So that's actually what I believe really needs to be done. We need to alter our court system in many different ways. I mean, the Anti-Federalists, they said a lot about our court system being too expensive and basically making sure that justice cannot be seen or cannot be achieved or whatever. And we need to really alter our justice system. It should be a lot easier for injustices like what is going on to be brought forward. This sort of insane sort of profiteering off of necessary things. And they covered up with, oh, capitalism. Well, maybe we need to revise a little bit of what we deem acceptable and unacceptable versions of capitalism. Now, I'm not a communist at all. I'm not a communist whatsoever. But I am a realist. And I can see what is just and unjust. This, what is happening in many different facets of our lives, completely unjust. So, but it's interesting though, the news likes to twist it around. They like to try to gaslight us. They like to psychologically manipulate us into thinking that things that are just are unjust. And then thinking that things that are unjust are perfectly just. And that's like a common theme that I see with the genocides, with all kinds of things. Oh yeah, this obviously unjust thing. Don't believe your lying eyes. No, it's perfectly just. Oh, this thing that's totally just. No, it's unjust. It's terrible. These people are horrible human beings. They're terrorizing people. Humanity needs to grow up. That's what needs to happen. We need to grow up. The people need to take the power back. My system actually does that. I have a system very well thought out. It really gives the people the power back. Not in this bullshit representative democracy that we have right now. And I mean, I'm not saying that my system isn't entirely not a representative democracy, but it's a huge improvement compared to the representative democracy that we currently have, where our representatives not just write the laws, but they also vote and pass the laws. That should not be happening. They should be able to maybe, write some laws, but the people should be the ones directly voting on them through referendums. This shit that we have going on right now is complete and total garbage. But people, because of the news, because of all the soulless demons out there, they've been convinced that this unjust system is the most just system in history and the most just system that has ever been or ever will be. It's upside down, backwards world, fucking clown world, all day, every day. It's like, am I the only one who sees this? I don't think so. I don't think that I'm alone here. I think that I'm actually in the majority, but these soulless demons like to keep us so divided, so distracted, so dumbed down, that we think that these things that are perfectly normal are actually not normal. Moving on. Interesting article here. Romania scraps presidential election after alleged Russian meddling. So you had this guy, right, this far-right candidate, says he will challenge decision of top court to order a rerun of first-round vote. So this guy's kicking ass in the Romanian elections, and then they paint him, oh, you're far-right, And then it's not that he's working directly with Russia, but because they claim Russia had some post on TikTok, or people maybe connected with Russia, I don't even know, like, it's all bullshit. They're like, yeah, Russia used TikTok to promote the leading candidate. Oh, we can't have that. We can't have people promoting the leading candidate, even though he's leading. So then what did they do? They scrapped the presidential election entirely. And this is the kind of shit that Hamas does in the Gaza Strip. Okay, they cancel elections, they count them incorrectly, and actually I think they mostly just cancel them, but not for these ridiculous reasons. So this is some crazy shit right here. Oh yeah, we'll cancel the election. Why? Because Russia posted some stuff on TikTok. Was this guy involved in it at all? Like, I mean, was he directly linked to him? No, he wasn't at all. Just some Russians, posted stuff on TikTok. It's like, okay, so what's stopping you guys from paying people in Russia to post stuff on TikTok to allow you to cancel elections? I mean, they can easily do that. Pay private people in Russia, not the Russian government, just people in Russia, people who have like Russian IP addresses. Hey, go post stuff on TikTok promoting this guy so we have an excuse to cancel the election. What kind of insanity is that? And of course, these Romanians, they just, it seems like they're just taking this. They're just rolling over like good little dogs, like good little plebs. Anyway, let's see our next article. Forget t-shirts. Okay, now we're entering the health portion of this video. So forget t-shirts. Times Square tourists are celebrating permanent New York City love with tattoos. Man, a bunch of brainless people, man. Tattoos are really one of the dumbest things in the world. This really just goes along the lines of like monkey see, monkey do. Oh, well, this person got a tattoo. It must be fun to get a tattoo, right? How about we actually look into a little bit of the science? Tattoos linked to cancer. Tattoos linked to increased cancer risk, scientists warn. There's all kinds of stuff. This has been discussed for a little while now. So tattoos may increase blood cancer risk by 21%. Yeah, they got some weasel words there where they sing may and stuff. But, so, take it as you will. But there's been some pretty thorough studies done on this. So not just that. Even if you want to say that it's not, there's no evidence for this. It's just may. Well, guess what? There is empirical evidence that shows tattoo ink is found in the lymphatic nodes. When they have a tattooed person and they do an autopsy and they study the body, scientists will, some people donate their body to science. Scientists have studied these bodies and they found that the ink can migrate to lymph nodes after application, where it may cause staining and potentially lead to inflammation. However, more research is needed to understand the long-term health effects of these pigments in the lymphatic system. It's not healthy, people. It's not healthy at all. Not just is it not healthy. Let's look at this. Tattoos do odd things to the immune system. No shit. So just a basic article. I believe you have to pay, of course, to get the information here. But then not only that, we got this other article here that we don't have to pay for. 83% of tattoo ink, or 83% of tattoo inks contain hidden ingredients linked to cancer and organ damage. But don't worry, guys. Monkey see, monkey do. Let's all be sociopaths. Let's just ink ourselves up. Sorry, guys. It's stupid. Okay, so look at Justin Bieber. I got all these tattoos, guys. I have high IQ, Justin Bieber. People are dumb, man. To me, it's like I'm sort of a religious person. I don't think that God wanted us to change our body that way. I think that like if you look at like a lot of theology, this is actually like would be against God. This would be like saying like, oh, God didn't make my body perfect already. God didn't make my body the way he intended it to be made. So I got to put a bunch of tattoos on it. I mean, it's really simple. Just, maybe run a study. Get some questions, some like psychological questions and stuff. Then talk to people who have their bodies covered in tattoos like this. And I'm sure that you'll find that they fall under a certain psychological profile that is not admirable whatsoever. So how brain cancer that killed Fox commentator Kelly Powers is set to spike 72% in coming years. So this lady, this Fox commentator, she died of brain cancer. And it's, of course, like everything else, it's one of the cancers that is going up as time is going on. And then there's all kinds of issues going on with it. And who knows what it can be tied to. FDA may outlaw food dyes within weeks. Bombshell move would affect candy, soda, and cakes, revolutionize American diets. So there's all kinds of just crap in the American diet that it's like, first of all, why did the FDA even approve of it? And it's funny too because I saw an article. That was the article I was looking for. Darn. I just remembered right now. There was another article. It was, I forget exactly what they were covering. I think it was the fructose. There was another article talking about like an ingredient that's in American diets that like supercharges or turbocharges tumor growth. And then like the FDA was like, oh, well, there's no evidence according to us about this. It's like, no, there's plenty of evidence. You guys are just sick people who, pass things like aspartame. There's a whole documentary on aspartame and like how it was like legalized and allowed to get into our food by the FDA, and how it shouldn't have gotten to our food from the FDA because like pretty much every single trial showed that it caused all kinds of problems in mice and other animals that it was tested on. But yep, they approved of it anyway. And that would be interesting. Why don't we how about you look at the trials, how these dyes affect the animals that it was tested on? I can guarantee you any person outside of the club would be like, oh no, this shit shouldn't be getting approved at all. Who's approving of this? Well, it's really simple. These mega corporations, it's all corruption, people paying other people out, and it's really obvious. And this is only allowed because of the ridiculous system that we operate under. We need a system that clears out all these government positions at a regular rate. People are like, oh yeah, we need term limits for politicians. No. We need term limits for every single government agency. For every single government job, we should have turnovers. X amount of years, and then those people, instead of them having like career government jobs, like I don't believe that any job should be a career government job. There needs to be turnover, and those people who then have these career government jobs will have to then invest the money that they make in these government jobs into their own businesses, into themselves. Okay, no more riding an entire lifetime on the taxpayer. Every single job, I'm telling you, every single government job, and of course, in order to get them, you need certain qualifications still. I'm not saying that we just give all these government jobs to any old schmo, but you revamp the education system. You encourage people that, hey, you know what? You go get an education. You're going to be guaranteed to get a government job for X amount of years. You're going to be guaranteed to get this sort of pay, and then you'll be able to use that to invest either in your own business or into something else. That's how it should be done. There should be no lifetime government positions in any government job. Federal, state, none of them. Make them, you can change the time period for whichever. You can maybe make exceptions where it's like, okay, we don't have somebody filling out this position, so these people can stay in for a little bit longer, but they're going to be filled out eventually, and once they do, you're out of there. And then you have to do shit on your own. No more fucking living off the taxpayer. That's a real system. And when you do that, you prevent all kinds of corruption. You make corruption nearly impossible because there's fresh blood coming into the game that will see that, oh no, this is corruption. I'm going to call this out. And then you remove it. And not just that, you make it so that people don't have to sell themselves out. Say, oh, well guess what? You're going to get this job. You don't have to fucking sell your soul to get this job. You don't have to become a soulless demon to get this well-paying government job. You make them all temporary. Really simple solution. Of course, with a couple caveats. I mean, it's not like so simple. Of course, there needs to be a lot of writing and like a lot of constitutional work done. But anyway, FDA must disclose more COVID-19 vaccine records, U.S. judge rules. So anyway, FDA must disclose more COVID-19 vaccine records, U.S. judge rules. So the FDA, these corrupt, soulless bastards over here, they're trying to conceal COVID-19 vaccine records. But they were sued, I believe, in Texas, and then this judge decided, like, yeah, no, you guys have to, like, release those records. I know you guys are trying real hard to conceal them, but you got to release them. And I think that I remember, like, there was that article, and it was like they would release records like over like basically like a lifetime, so that nobody would actually know like what the full thing is until like 100 years from now or some shit like that. So yeah, in a ruling on Friday, U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman in Fort Worth, Texas, ordered the agency to produce its emergency use authorization file to a group of scientists who wanted to see licensing information that the FDA relied on to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine. The COVID-19 is long past, and so has any legitimate reason for concealing from the American people the information relied upon by the government in approving the Pfizer vaccine. Why would there have been a legitimate reason to conceal it before? How does this make any sense right here, right? Oh yeah, well it's passed, and now there's no legitimate reason to conceal this information. Well, there should have been no reason to conceal it before either. So the FDA declined to comment because they're soulless demons. Let's move on to our next article. Expert reveal only 3 factors matter in preventing dementia. So there are just 3 main things you need to worry about when it comes to preventing dementia, a review suggests. Not having a hobby, being obese, and being sedentary after age 60 were the biggest predictions of who went on to develop the disorder. So those are the 3 things. Not having a hobby, I guess not having a hobby leads to the sedentary lifestyle. And of course, the sedentary lifestyle, of course, and not having a hobby sort of leads to obesity, right? Well, not always, but they can all be somewhat linked together. So, right, that's that article. But check this out. Doctors warn unsuspecting item lurking in 70% of homes may lead to cancer and dementia. Oh, I guess that previous study forgot to mention that, right? They forgot to look into that, right? And what is it? It's scented candles. So these scented candles that a lot of people, I know a couple people who use them. Turns out they're linked to dementia and cancer. The noxious gases and emitted chemicals can lead to coughing, sneezing, irritation of the eyes, nose, throat, and lungs. And this is what boggles my mind. Like, I've been in a room with some jackass that uses scented candles, right? And it's clearly, like, irritating me, right? It's clearly causing agitation to my immune system, and it's like, how do you not pick up on this? Like, is your mind so dead that you can't pick up on this? Like, you can't pick up on the fact that this is causing you damage? It's like, I had this cousin, right? And she was living with me one time, right? And I had gone to the store to get, I went to the pet store to get like these little worms because I had a spider in my backyard that I was trying to take care of. That's right, I was taking care of a wild spider. I'm not just my brother's keeper, I am the world's keeper. And I wanted to help this spider survive. Anyway, before I had left, I had cooked myself some eggs and stuff. And then I guess I thought I turned the stove off. But it turns out like the gas was still coming out. Like the way I turned the knob, I guess it was wrong. I just looked at to see if there was a fire there. There was no fire. So I left. I came back like 30 minutes, about 20, 25 minutes later. My whole fucking house smelled like gas. And my cousin is just sitting there watching TV, texting on her phone. I think she had her baby at the time. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you don't fucking smell gas in the house? I had to fucking open up all the doors, all the windows real quick. I'm like, you don't smell that? And she's like, no, I don't smell that. It's like, damn, dude, how fucking dead is your brain? Like, how dead is your mind? House is filled with gas, and you're just sitting there like fucking nothing's going on. I mean, it's a perfect analogy for exactly what's happening in our country. Our country is filled with soulless demons, but people just seem completely incapable of seeing that. They're just like, soulless demons? Where, huh? Well, just everywhere you fucking look on the TV. You know, just to look at the news once in a while. Not even the news. Just look at, critically analyze the shit that you're watching. Just critically analyze your entertainment. You'll see that these soulless demons are everywhere. Anyway, moving on to our next article. We're going to go into some archaeology here. Ancient Mayan city of Ucanao was contaminated with mercury, study finds. So it turns out this is probably why the Mayan cities were abandoned. They were using this mercury paint, the cinnabar pigment favored by the Mayans. They were using it, and it contaminated all their shit with mercury. And like huge, massive contaminations of mercury in their water, in their soil, everywhere contaminated with mercury. Like, and I mean high levels of contamination. Soils taken from across the core and its water, the toxic metal may have caused inhabitants serious health. Yeah, may have caused serious health problems. No, it definitely did. Yeah, the average mercury concentration in each was at a level classified as heavily polluted. Beyond the reservoirs, the team found the highest concentration of mercury in ceremonial zones at the city's core, with lower but still significant amounts in samples taken from other locations, including residential zones. The whole fucking place, this whole city was contaminated with mercury, and it's not just this city; it's other Mayan cities too. So this is probably why they actually abandoned their cities. People probably realize, like, holy shit, everybody in the cities are fucking brain dead. They have all kinds of problems, but the country folk, they don't. Let's just get the fuck out of these cities. They probably couldn't identify exactly what was going wrong. They probably thought it was like some spirits or something that had cursed the cities. But no, these idiots were contaminating themselves with mercury at like insanely high levels. It reminds me like so much of what's happening today with our food, with our candles, with all of the fucking cancerous shit that the FDA has allowed to be put into our plates and our houses and our environment. It's like really history is just like repeating itself on like a whole nother level here. Anyway, let's move on to our next article here. We still got a bunch of fucking articles to cover. Our next article here, we're going to be looking at incompetent police officers, horrific moments, speeding motorcycle cop plows into crowd of revelers at parade as mass casualty event is declared. It's not a mass casualty event. I think only one person died. But look at this jackass cop over here. You got this parade going on. So this idiot tried doing it looks like he tried doing a wheelie on his bike. Somebody said he did a wheelie over there, and then you can see him trying to pull back here. Like he tried doing another wheelie, and it totally crashed into a crowd of people. Killed one, injured a whole bunch of others. Now, while we're on the topic, police officer charged with assault for slamming elderly man to the ground. This fucking dude, I have to read this article, right? So actually, I'll just summarize it, because this video is already really long. So this guy, this officer is trying to give this old man like a ticket for some bullshit reason. And the old man doesn't want to sign the ticket. You know how the cops, they make you sign the ticket for some fucking retarded reason. I guess it's proof that they gave you the ticket, even though they have their body cam on and running to prove that they gave you the ticket. So they're like obsessed. You gotta sign the ticket. If you don't sign the ticket, I'm gonna fucking kill you, or I'm gonna arrest you and destroy your life. Right? So the guy, like, taps the officer on the chest, like with his 3 fingers. He kind of like pokes the officer, probably like gently. You know, he's an old dude. He's like 71 years old. You know, it's not like he can cause harm to the officer. So the officer decides to grab him by the arm, turn around and slam him fucking face first onto the pavement, causing like a brain bleed, a neck fracture, and like all kinds of fucking issues. This guy was also in the middle of taking cancer medication. And because of his injuries were so severe that they had to stop giving him cancer medication. That's how insane it is. And then the best part is that the cop lied about it. The cop lied. He's like, he fell. He fell over. And it's like, no, dude, you were caught on security camera. And then, of course, like the lady comes over, like I think the guy's wife or maybe his daughter. I forgot which. And she's like, oh my God, you really hurt him. And then he turns his camera off. Dude should be... should have some choice treatment given to him. You know what I mean? You know, some of that just punishment that they want you to think is unjust. Anyway, let's move on. New York City closing street to give posh Upper East Side prep school own private playground. DOT hurt tax-paying citizens. Yeah, this happens all the time. I see this shit all the time. They allow these private schools to close off streets to give these schools their own little playground. It's insane. The amount of corruption going on, the amount of unjust things occurring every single day is just beyond anybody's wildest expectations, beyond anybody's wildest dreams. I mean, it's like in New York City, they have these private e-bikes, these city bikes, taking up hundreds of parking spots. If not, I can guarantee you in the whole city, thousands of parking spots. Why? That's a public parking spot right there. That's a spot for the citizens, for the taxpayers. They've taken it, they've put bikes there that now a private company is profiting off of. It doesn't make any sense. They're like, oh yeah, we're doing it for the environment, but now people have to look for parking. They got to drive around forever looking for parking. What it is, it's just them laughing at you. It's them mocking you. They're complete and utter contempt for you, okay? They hate you. These are soulless demons who couldn't give a damn about you. It's so obvious. So anyway, we got this really stupid article here. United is offering free flights to the North Pole for kids in need this Christmas. Once-in-a-lifetime event. So they take these planes, they fly basically around, then they land back in the airport. I'm not even sure if they take off or maybe they just like taxi around. Then they come to a terminal that has like basically a fake North Pole Santa shop here. And it's like, really? All the money that you guys spend on this, these kids are in need, right? Why don't you actually do something that they need? I can guarantee you they don't need this shit. Why don't you actually help them instead of putting on this fucking PR stunt where it's like, look how much we care. And of course, the fucking mercury-brained masses, they're like, oh, United really cares. Let's look at the comments, right? Let's see what they say. What a wonderful experience for these children and families. Enjoy. That is the nicest, most heartwarming story. Thank you, United, for spreading true Christmas joy. Wow. Now, if only United would stop their oppressive fees, that would be a true Christmas miracle. There you go. Somebody saying something logical. This was an awesome gesture. Wonderful sentiment. Just hope they don't lose anyone's luggage. I love Alaska Air. They include scripture in your package to eat or travel. Unbelievable. Anyway, Taylor Swift hating husbands can't deal with their wives' devotion, and it's leading to divorces. Yeah, because these grown women are acting like fucking infantile children. It's like, you're a grown adult idol worshipping. Just over your idol worshipping like some sort of soulless, brainwashed demon. And it's somebody who's not even good. Like, she's not good at what she does. It's just the media has convinced everybody that she is, so they just believe it. Listen and believe. Anyway, this story's hilarious. Missing Hawaiian woman Hannah Kobayashi spotted crossing into Mexico before father killed himself trying to find her. So this piece of shit decides to go to California, decides to go to one of the worst places in the United States, Skid Row area, LA, decides to allow herself to go missing, doesn't tell anybody in her family. They all believe the worst happened to her. Her father goes for 11 days looking for her, sees all kinds of horrible shit out there in LA, and decides to kill himself, thinking that the worst happened to his daughter, and probably blaming himself, because he was like an estranged father, and he's probably thinking like, oh my god, what if I was in my daughter's life? She wouldn't be dead now, or being like sex trafficked, or like any of these things. He's probably thinking all these horrible things. He kills himself. Meanwhile, this bitch is just out being in a free spirit. Oh yeah, I just decided to, go across the Mexico border and do all kinds of dumb shit over there. And then her family, like the ones that live with her, her sister and stuff, they're like, oh no, this is not like her at all. We have to find her. They have like a GoFundMe. They're ranking in like tens of thousands of dollars in a GoFundMe and stuff to find this, POS human being who voluntarily went missing. And then guess what? They find out Hannah Kobayashi linked to immigration scam as her desperate family's pleas to public fall on deaf ears. This girl is just a true POS. And of course, her sister out there, you got the tattoos. Remember what I said? I mean, if you talk to these people with the tattoos, a majority of them, especially the ones that have all of these tattoos, I'm telling you, I've known dozens and dozens of them. Not a single one of them stood out. Like, not a single one of them displayed any sort of individual and independent thought of their own. They all fall under, like, the same psychological profile. It's like, holy shit, where is the factory that is turning out these brainless people? Like, that's the only thing I can believe. It's like, there's no way these people are born from human beings. There has to be some factory out in the desert that's mass-producing these morons. And just mass-producing them from, like, the same two models. The male and female model, but the same fucking brain. Same personality. It's hilarious. And they think that they're so special. They think that their tattoos make them so unique and stuff. And it's like, dude, you guys are, like, the farthest thing from special and unique. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's move on. Influencer Dominique Brown dies at 34 as shocking claim emerges. Yeah, this is just a really stupid story. This lady goes to like some gathering. There's like some gathering. She decides to eat some food. She asks them, "Oh, is there nuts in this?" And they're like, "No, there's not nuts." And it's like, dude, if you have a peanut allergy, if you have a nut allergy, why are you not carrying your EpiPen around with you? She eats something. She's having an allergic reaction. Her throat is closing up on her. She asks somebody to take her to the hospital, and they respond, "Oh yeah, after the pictures. Like let us take some pictures first." She dies because these selfish, self-indulgent, soulless demons. But I mean, it's not entirely their fault. Just look at this Disney-brained fucking idiot over here. Oh yeah, I love Disney. That's my personality. My personality is I idol worship Disney. Aren't I a unique individual? God made me. He birthed me into this world, a unique individual. I'm gonna decide to die a clone. I'm sorry, am I just heartless for this, or am I just being too real? I think I'm being too real, and I'll be, described. They'll say, oh my god, this guy's horrible. He's a horrible person for saying what we're all thinking. Terrorizing the internet with his truth. He's harmful content. This harmful, truthful content. Idiots. This lady earns the spot in This Week in Mega Stupid. Hanging out with stupid people that couldn't care less about you, and you're too stupid to see that you've surrounded yourself with soulless, self-indulgent demons, and then you're also too stupid to have an allergy, and then not carry an EpiPen around with you. Jesus, if I had a fucking peanut allergy, I'd carry an EpiPen in my bag and one up my ass. Just in case the one in my bag gets lost. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. NASA postpones much-hyped manned lunar mission to nobody's surprise. Yeah, we're going back to the moon, guys. We're going back to the moon. No, you're not. You're full of shit. You never went there in the first place. You're going to delay this mission, then you'll delay the next one. It's not possible, guys. It's not feasible. They're taking all your fucking tax money, billions of dollars of it, tens and hundreds of billions of dollars of it over the years, to make you think that they're doing something that is completely irrelevant. You're just burning up the fucking atmosphere. That's all you're really doing. Anyway, North Carolina Office of State Fire Marshal statement regarding recent misinformation related to temporary housing constructed to shelter victims of Hurricane Helene. I want to cover this because there's a lot of bullshit on BitChute in particular. On BitChute, you have all these people who are making claims that, tiny houses were made for these hurricane victims, and they were taken away, and then they want your money. Give us money so we can help these hurricane victims that are being unjustly treated by the government. It was all bullshit. Okay, if you read this, not a single person was evicted from a single tiny home because of some failed inspection. Never happened. It's just a scam. Yeah, but make sure you give them money. Well, not you guys in particular, but whatever. Let's move on. A bad-tempered babysitter leaves 7-month-old boy with cerebral palsy after attacking him. You got this piece of shit human being over here who attacks a 7-month... Who fucking attacks a 7-month-old child? A 7-year-old child? Even a 17-year-old child? What are you doing? Doing this to poor kids? I mean, it's insane. She's completely ruined this kid's life for the rest of his life. I mean, his life is ruined. He's now going to be a handicap for the rest of his years because his parents were dumb enough to leave him in the care of this lady. Jesus, that's why you should, keep a close family, people. I mean, I'm not saying family members can't do this. This one's really good. Detransitioner 20 claims top doctor pushed her into sex change, amputated breasts, and could have left her infertile. So this person, she detransitioned. I think this is the top doctor. Obvious, a soulless demon right here. It's really fucking obvious. Like, I don't even have to talk to this lady. I just need to look at her. It's a girl who was transitioning to a boy. She amputated her breast. She took a bunch of puberty blockers that will probably leave her infertile, make it so that she can't have kids. And this top doctor, I can say a bunch of things about her, right? Let's just, what's her name? Olson Kennedy heightened her controversial namesake earlier this year with her refusal to publish the findings of a 10 million taxpayer-funded study showing that puberty blockers did not improve the mental health of kids. Yeah, I already talked about this in a previous Week in Stupid. Yeah, piece of shit human being should have some just treatment come her way, and by that I mean like she should face like the criminal justice system and maybe in prison for life, or even given the death sentence. Give these people the death penalty. We got to be a little bit more comfortable with the types of people that we give the death penalty to. Don't waste the taxpayer money keeping these soulless demons alive. Send them to their maker so that their maker can remake them and send them back to us, maybe corrected. Anyway, let's move on.
What concerns have you had about speaking out?
That I'm gonna be murdered. One day I'm gonna be walking down the street and somebody's gonna come up and shoot me or something.
That's a really scary thing to be worrying about at 10 years old.
Yeah, that should not be a worry.
Michelle, what's going through your mind as you hear your daughter?
Jesus Christ. Okay, so this article is just unbelievable. They removed the video. This video is no longer available, but they still have the audio. So, uncomfortable moment, transgender child tells weeping parents their biggest fear. This person here really has been brainwashed to think that somebody's going to murder them for being pro-trans or something like that. It's like, no, you're a child, okay? You're an innocent child whose brain has obviously been thoroughly washed by the adults around you. And then, like, of course, CNN, like, you know, they, of course, have to publish this and stuff. I'm surprised that they have the video over here, but they don't have the video up there. So it's complete insanity. This is just, like, completely insane. I'm sure that this person will grow up and really regret what was done to them as a child. When their brain is still developing, I cannot believe they even have, like, that on their mind. Like, oh, yeah, somebody's going to murder me for being a brainwashed child. No, it's not going to happen, buddy. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate what's happening to you. So anyway, and it's actually funny because it turns out, like, kids that are under, like, a certain age, like, I think under 18 or something like that, under a certain age, they're actually not allowed to get tattoos. Like, giving your child a tattoo is, I think, considered child abuse. I've read that a couple places. I have not verified it. Anyway, mystery illness has killed dozens of people in Congo. UN experts are now investigating. Up the mystery illness. We got the rise of the mystery illnesses. We got the bird flu. Now we got this mystery illness over here just in time for Vax Daddy Trump to take office. Unknown disease kills 143 in southwest Congo. Local authorities say, where's the one that's like causing fear? No, it's here goes another one. Completely different article. U.S. woman 20 accidentally stabs Eritrean 64 to death during struggle after he groped her at German train station and now faces 10 years in prison. This goes back to the whole thing of, like, you know, turning just things into unjust things and unjust things into just things. 20-year-old is groped, being violated and attacked by this 64-year-old Eritrean. And by the way, in Eritrean, this is like a country from like the Horn of Africa. And then defends herself and now is facing 10 years in prison. We'll probably get it too because it's Germany. And we know Germany just hates the woman over there. Went from, yeah, it's all feminism. We got to, like, save the woman. We got to help our woman, support our woman. Now it's, what's a woman? What the fuck is a woman? Who's talking about woman over here? How dare you try to define what a woman is? Then we got this other pervert over here. We got a Florida teacher is found naked in classroom with slew of disturbing items. Dude is claiming that he's homeless and that he was sleeping in the classroom. They found him because he broke into the school that set off an alarm. I guess there was like a motion sensor that showed that somebody had entered the school when they shouldn't be in the school. They go in there. He's found fucking naked, surrounded by sex toys. He's found including assortment of items, including sex toys, women's underwear, marijuana, some food, and a laptop. He also created a makeshift bed. And then, like, when the authorities try to, like, apprehend him, he punches one of the cops in the face while trying to run away. And this is the guy. Who hires this guy as a teacher? I want to find the principal that didn't see the major red flags in this guy. Okay, of course, the Disney person, like, I mean, come on, guys. Oh, look, I have a funny shirt. It says, I'm fine. It has bloodstains on it. I'm so cool. I'm so hip. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for not giving up on me. Like, who is this guy, man? Like, and of course got the, I mean, there's so many red flags that you can see in a teacher. He's got the senpaku eyes over here. How would you change the world? Like, anybody who, like, I mean, I can say a lot of things here. There's just a lot of sick individuals out there, some sick people in this world.
Just a sick world we're living in. Sick people.
Let's see what else we got here. Principal hit with criminal charges for letting 2 pedophile teachers prey on teen students in Oregon. Piece of shit principal. Just allowed these kids to be preyed on. Look at this guy. You can just, I mean, it's just so obvious, man. It's just so obvious. Like, I mean, if somebody told you, like, oh yeah, there's this pedo teacher that was preying on students, what mental image would you have in your mind? It probably would be this fucking guy right here. Pathetic. You know, up your discernment game. I know we allow all the soulless demons to run around in politics and on TV and stuff, but do we have to let them run around our workplaces too? Anyway, FBI arrests Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson on public corruption charges. So at least one soulless demon. She was being a little too careless with her corruption. She's like, hey, everybody else is corrupt around me. I might as well be blatantly corrupt also. It's like, no, you can't be too obvious with it, you know? Then what else do we have? We got down. Okay, these last couple articles, I think these are our last 2, right? This shit kills me. This gaslighting is unbelievable. Check this out, right? This is going to be the last one showing that they're gaslighting us, right? So Donatella Versace, 69, stuns fans with unbelievable beauty transformation. The biggest upgrade in history. Okay, guys, I hope you have no food in your mouth, right? So check out the biggest upgrade in history. Oh, shit, man. It's like a couple weeks ago, I had the that one gymnast that they were like, she's wowing people. Like, she went to some country music awards. And it's like they were like making it like she looks so stunning and stuff, and it's like she looks terrible. This is that article, but like to the 10th power. This is that article to the 10th power. This is the biggest upgrade in history. And then they have this one with a bunch of like, I guess, filters on the camera, just so you can't see what she actually looks like. But no, this is what she looks like, right? And look at, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, is this even fucking safe to put on YouTube? This is gonna give people nightmares. I guess they forgot to put filters on all the images. You can tell it's the same night. It's the same dress, right? So, obviously, heavily filtered image here. The truth. It's like, oh, this is their Instagram photos or like whatever dating app a person uses. And then you meet them in person. And you're like, oh my God, what happened? Oh my, Jesus Christ, man. Just age with grace. Just accept that you're getting old. That's part of life. Like, it must be horrible to be in this person's head and to be so uncomfortable with the natural aging process. And now, to finish it off, we got another article just like it. I know the real reason Pamela Anderson still titillates men and women alike, and it's nothing to do with her no-makeup bravery. Her no-makeup is obviously bullshit, writes Jessica Slathery, right? I didn't read this article, but it's just funny that people are still trying to claim that Pam Anderson is titillating people. I mean, she went from that to that. I mean, clearly she allowed makeup to destroy her face. She's still putting on a ton of makeup to sort of hide the wrinkles and stuff. But, you know, she's trying to come off as like, I'm a modest girl now, you know. I was a whore that was made into a housewife. So, no, you're a soulless demon. That's what happens when you're a soulless demon. It shows on the outside. So, anyway, I believe that's it for today. That's the end of our articles. As always, hope you all enjoyed the show. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay sharp.
See how happy I make others.